It's Friday, the 21st of July, 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's jump straight into story number 1. Any way you look at it, the labour market is hot, with unemployment last month coming in at 3.5%, thanks to a pretty surprising jump in jobs.
Yeah, look, the economy is supposed to be slowing. That's what retailers are telling us. That's what loan arrears suggest. That's what the Reserve Bank and the government is saying. But someone forgot to let the job markets know. Now, to be fair, the labour market figures from the Bureau of Statistics are known as a lagging indicator. So while the impact of the higher cost of living and interest rates is hitting most sectors, it hasn't yet knocked the wind out of the labour market. But still, you'd expect some sort of impact by now, especially given leading indicators, things like job vacancy ads, have fallen. Anyway, to the numbers. Employment rose by about 32,600 people in June, and the workforce is now over 1 million people, larger than pre-COVID. Full-time employment has increased by 380,000 over the past year, while part-time employment is up 30,000. The states of New South Wales and Tasmania, with unemployment rates of 2.9% and 3.5% respectively, now have all-time low unemployment rates. The participation rate edged lower, though it still remains near record levels. A hot market, Michael.
Yeah, the big question, Sean, we know the Reserve Bank is watching this. What does it mean for interest rates?
It certainly puts pressure on for another rate rise, but it isn't a done deal yet. Next week's June quarter inflation data is even more important. In March, annualised inflation was 7%. The Reserve Bank will want that closer to 6% in June. Bond markets, after yesterday's employment figures, have ascribed a 40 to 45% chance that the Reserve Bank will lift rates when its board meets on Tuesday week.
All right, on to story number 2 now, Sean. The number of corporate insolvencies jumped by 62% in the year to June, with the potential for many more as the economy slows.
Australian Security and Investment Commission figures show that nearly 8,000 Australian companies went into administration, liquidation or receivership last financial year, up from about 4,900 the year before. It's the highest number of business failures since the 2018-19 financial year. During COVID, insolvency numbers actually fell thanks to temporary measures put in place by the Morrison government to protect vulnerable businesses from the economic shock of the pandemic. But now the construction sector is definitely the hardest hit, with insolvencies up 72%. New South Wales and Victoria account for the bulk of them. In fact, those two states recorded the biggest rise in overall insolvencies across the nation.
Story number 3, this one's pretty extraordinary. Pacific Islander fruit pickers and farm workers across 2 states, Sean, will be found new jobs after a federal government decision to revoke a business licence in response to what unions say amounts to modern slavery.
Yeah, so Australian labour hire company Links Employment has been under investigation following claims that workers were mistreated. The company says it has a large database of local and international workers sourcing long-term employment solutions from the Pacific Islands. But workers at the Tasmanian labour hire company claim management seized their visas, refused to provide pay slips, and staff were bullied and threatened. Australian Workers' Union National Secretary Paul Farrow said the business model amounted to modern slavery.
Story number 4, tech billionaire Scott Farquhar says demands for workers to return to the office cubicle are short-sighted, and that half of new staff at Atlassian now work remotely based in regional areas around the world.
I love this debate. So the co-founder of the software giant said attracting and keeping talent in the sector was becoming increasingly important if Australia is to maintain its position as the lucky country in increasingly difficult times. Speaking at the Technology Council of Australia National Tech Summit in Brisbane, Farquhar said flexible conditions are a boon for decentralised states such as Queensland that don't have to attract entire companies to benefit from growth in the tech sector. Farquhar said 53% of new employees recruited by the company over the past 2 years live more than 2 hours from an Atlassian office. The company employs more than 10,000 people around the world. A quarter of its Australian workforce live outside of Sydney.
Last one, story number 5. Netflix's crackdown on passwords is working, it seems, with the streaming service recording one of its biggest jumps in subscriber numbers since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes, Netflix added nearly 6 million subscribers in the 3 months to the end of June. It now has 238 million worldwide subscribers. But management warned that competition is tough, and alongside the strike by writers and actors unions in the US, investors are a little worried about the company and sold the stock down. Netflix reckons the number of new subscribers this quarter will be about the same as the last quarter. Last year, Netflix introduced a low-priced option that includes commercials. Then it began to block the sharing of passwords that had, it estimated, enabled 100 million people to watch its TV series and films for free. Well, that crackdown seems to be working, hence an extra 6 million subscribers last quarter.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 21st of July, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. If 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.